News.
Well, Tom Brady is completely defeating Father Time at the age of 44, and he very well might win the NFL MVP award. Fox Bet has Tom Brady at plus 175 to win for the fourth time in his career. There's a pretty big gap to the next guy on the list. That's Aaron Rodgers at plus 650, Josh Allen at plus 700 after being the early season favorite, and Kyler Murray comes in at 900. He was in pretty strong control of that space for a while until he got injured, and Patrick Mahomes at plus 1,000. Brady this season is 9-3, 68.3% completion percentage, 3,771 passing yards, 34 passing touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. So he's putting up a really impressive stat line so far this year.
And what should be noted, because he did inherit good players, look at how the offensive line has been transformed since Brady arrived. Now, Jensen, Ali Marpet, Tristan Wirfs. It was always considered, when Tom got there, the weakness of the team was our secondary's young, there's not a lot of leadership here, and the O-line is average. And now a year and a half later, the O-line is great. That proves, and Peyton Manning did this, if your quarterback is really good pre-snap and can audible you out of trouble, all the offensive line grades go up.
Right.
And so Brady deserves some credit here, and this is what a veteran quarterback will do. He can get you in to plays you weren't in at the line of scrimmage. He can get you out of trouble. Look at the, not redemption, but the elevation of the O-line in Tampa now. We were talking to Jeff Schwartz the other day. You can argue Tampa's got the best offensive line in the game.
Yeah.
All they added was a right tackle. But Brady's ability to manipulate the line of scrimmage is under discussed in this whole equation.
Well, you and I aren't really big awards people, and we don't spend a whole lot of time talking about the MVP unless it's a much debated situation, like the year that Russell Westbrook won the MVP. It's like, okay, it's kind of decided. He's on this run with these triple doubles. It hasn't happened in how many years? Like it's kind of deserved, but is that the criteria and so on and so forth? There's not really a whole lot of debate about the NFL MVP. It's usually pretty clear through most of the season who the NFL MVP is. This year's been kind of a weird year. You had Rodgers out with COVID. Kyler Murray was out for 3 weeks injured. Josh Allen's been a little up and down. So it's been kind of a quiet conversation that is usually much more debated at this point in the season. It's unprecedented that he would win this at age 44. And if he wins it, there's not going to be any argument about it.
Well, it also, I think, it really helps the industry. For anybody that worries about Aaron Rodgers turning 38,
right,
what Tom is doing is he's making other people money. He's making Russell Wilson money. Anybody that's a little older that's been, it's like, no.
Well, he's stretching the timeline.
For all these quarterbacks.
Well, I wouldn't say for all. I would say for quarterbacks that we know invest the time and energy into their bodies.
Right.
Like, everybody's not going to play till 44,
right,
especially at this level.
And not everybody's committed.
Right. I think he's an absolute outlier. But when you talk about guys like Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson, guys that we know are committed to their bodies and take care of themselves and don't take unnecessary hits. Well, Russ did for a little while, but we know Russ takes care of himself. So for those guys, for the outlier guys, I do think it's stretching it out. The Bucs host the Bills on Sunday. That's a very big game. Are the Bills going to bounce back from that? Currently 3.5-point favorites, the Bucs are, according to Fox Bet.
And that's in Tampa?
Yes.
I think I'd take Buffalo. I think
I
think I'm going to take Buffalo in the points there. Absolutely. They got a bet. They're in a spot. They got to bounce back. They can't lose anymore.
Need to bounce back.
They can't lose any more games.
Yeah.
They're in a wild card chase. Tampa can lose that game. Who's more desperate? Bama was more desperate against Georgia. Desperation. It's not must win for Tampa. It is must. And by the way, now Buffalo's getting ripped by everybody. The coach is getting ripped and the players getting ripped. There's a lot of heat on Buffalo right now.
So Luka has had a slightly sluggish start to the season, and he admitted he probably relaxed a little bit too much after the Olympics.
People can talk about it, yes or no, but I know I got to do better. I had a long summer. I think I relaxed a little bit, not taking care, but, I got to be better. I don't know. I had a long summer. Like I'm saying, I had 3 weeks off, and then I said I relaxed a little bit, maybe too much, and I just got to get back on track.
So he reportedly showed up to camp weighing over 260 pounds. He is averaging 25.5 points per game. I mean, we know that he's going to get buckets regardless, but the Mavs are currently 7th in the West at 11 and 12 behind the Lakers.
He looks a little heavier.
His body type is
puffy.
one that he can be on the heavier side and fluctuate. Now, last season he was slightly out of shape, but there were a lot of players that came back out of shape because of COVID.
I mean, he looks heavier to me.
Well, he is. He's saying he maybe took a little bit too much time off.
Okay, so he's averaging 25. Didn't he average like 28, 29 last year? So he should be, this is the prime. He should be at 30 a game.
Yes, but that's what he's saying. Like, he had a really long summer, and he gave himself a little bit maybe too much rest. I think he's very young. Like, he's going to get himself back in shape. It's obviously frustrating, though, once the season starts. You don't want to be playing yourself into shape. You want to be coming into the season in shape. But that is kind of the issue when you have something big like the Olympics going on over the summer that messes up your routine. Yeah. Routines are very important for athletes. But I have no doubt that he's going to get back on track. He averaged 27.7 points last season, so he is down about 2 points this year. Speaking of being out of shape, according to sources, Zion is 330 pounds right now.
I saw a picture on the internet the other day, and it was like, is that the... Yeah, that's the one I saw. I don't know. I thought, is that the warm-up suit, or is that...
Yeah, I try to not react too much to these pictures because the internet can be kind of harsh and you can get bad angles and yeah, maybe the sweatshirt's a little oversized. You know, it can happen. I myself have been accused of being obese quite often. I think it was 3 weeks ago. So I don't know.
Who accused you of that?
I mean, it's the internet, which is why I don't react to these pictures with that much of a terror until I see that this is actually valid and he has gotten himself out of shape. He was 285 pounds at Duke and entered the league the same weight. So that is if he is truly
50.
If he's truly at 330, that is a significant amount.
Wow.
Scouts said that his body type would be better around a 260, 270. So we're talking about a massive amount of weight swing here.
And also, beyond weight and being in shape, ligaments, knees, feet.
Well, this was always the concern with Zion. I didn't panic about it too much because I felt like once he got into the NBA, he would have, obviously, NBA-level trainers, NBA-level chefs and nutritionists. You're going to have the pressure of being in the NBA, your teammates, coaches. It's going to be a different environment. Not that he didn't have that in college, obviously, but it's the next level when you get to the pros. But he did suffer a torn meniscus, which delayed the start of his rookie season by 4 months. He also missed the final 2 games in the bubble to right knee soreness. And even though he missed 11 games in the second season, he had 2 hand injuries. So he's had a lot. He had foot surgery in the offseason, which is why he's yet to play this season. So he's had a lot of injuries, which was also the other concern with him. He's played in 85 games and sat out 85 games in his career so far. So there's no timetable on his return.
Yep.
He had a minor setback a few days ago. And so the start of his career has been rocky, to say the least. But this is the issue. When you have a lower extremity injury or surgery, you can't do cardio. And if you're someone who tends to put on weight quickly, or that's your body type, that makes it all the more difficult. Now, there's obviously other things you can do when you're training to get back, but that's concerning.
Joy with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.